Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 23 of the Young Monarchs podcast. As you guys know, I am Tiara, Miss Tiara XO on Instagram, and I'm super excited. And just want to say thank you to everybody that's still been joining in, still been along for the ride on this different movement that we're on. So today, I'm joined by Maya and Milan, who are founders of On the Harp. And obviously, if you're watching on YouTube, they are twin, beautiful twin sisters who have created this amazing digital platform to kind of be a cultivation of creative space for Black women and created by Black women. So I wanted to just introduce them. If they have anything you guys want to start off with, the role you play at On the Harp, and we can even kind of get into how you guys came up with the idea.
I guess we can start how we came up with the idea. I was interning at a media company in LA, and working for them, my job was to do like stock images for their articles. And I noticed that not all of their stock images have Black women or featured Black women. So what I would do was like scour IG for influencers, look at some of our affiliate stockholders and find images of Black women and put them at the forefront as much as I can. And then one day I texted Maya, I was like, we could do this. Like, we could do this for Black women, because I feel like they weren't speaking to us. They weren't speaking like the same language, Black women have, and they definitely weren't marketing towards Black women. So I just texted Maya, like, we could do this. We should try doing this. And we started from there.
Yeah, for sure. How long ago was that?
That was about 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago, and we launched On the Harp last year in October. So we're like a couple months old. We're not even a full year yet. But yeah, me and Mon had a personal blog back in the day. So we kind of always been interested in like writing and images. So I think like everything kind of naturally flowed for us to build the platform starting from when we were in high school. So yeah, it just all came together finally.
And like, what are some of those passions? I know when we were talking on the phone, you guys mentioned definitely fashion being something big for you, beauty. How did you guys kind of fall into your own style? Because from looking at On the Harp and reading some of the articles, I'm going to ask you a little bit later, but I love the articles on like quarantine, what happens when we're going to leave quarantine. The article that you guys had about like the top beauty products. So where do you guys kind of get your inspiration to create content that you want to talk about and your audience wants to talk about as well?
Whenever kind of inspiration flows, like the quarantine article, which like that, where I was just kind of like, I've been thinking about everything. So I'm just like, what's fashion gonna look like when quarantine's over? I'm like, I already know I'm a jeans and t-shirt girl, but I was like, I kind of want to step it up. I want to step out. I'm gonna wear skirts. I'm gonna wear dresses. I want to be more girlier because I've been wearing sweats. So that was just the process I was going through. And I was like talking to my friends. I was like, I should do an article because I feel like people can relate to this. So it's kind of sporadic. Most of the content that I do is just random thoughts, like, oh, I want to talk about this, or this is heavy on my heart, I want to write about this. So that's how I do my content process.
Yeah, I think I'm the same way. Like, whatever is piquing my interest at the time, I want to talk about, like, things I'm interested in, trends I'm interested in, and topics that I'm interested in. So it can come like inspired for like a conversation with my friends. An article can be inspired that way, or being on IG, looking at something. It really comes from, I would say the same as Maya.
Oh, yeah. So you guys mentioned you just noticed like a big void that was happening in different content. And I noticed the same thing. Like, I work in creative marketing, and all the women that we use on our commercials are white women, or like fair-skinned women. How do you guys, like, because you guys have noticed this niche, how are you kind of starting to own this space? Are you like collabing with other Black creatives, kind of like we're doing now? Do you have different writers that will be on the Harp? How do you see your community kind of coming together?
For us, we definitely collab with mostly Black men. Like, our website, for instance, web designer is a Black woman. The girl who did our logo, she's a Black woman. So that was very important for us from the jump, was to work with Black we interview Black women throughout industries, people that we feel that, regardless of their follower count, are doing great work. So I just interviewed a stylist. I was very excited because I've always loved her work. I followed her on IG and I got to interview her. So that's really, it's about collaboration. So collaborating with Black women, making sure we're amplifying their voices and their work.
Yeah, we actually had our first takeover. We had this girl. I found her because a brand reached out to us actually, and they wanted us to do some free promo, for their products, and I was like, let me see what they're about.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna do it, but I was like, let me see what they're about. So it's kind of cool because we didn't end up working with them, but I was just like going through their tagged photos to see who else they work with, and they worked with this girl. I think what is her name? Brittany, right? Brianna. Her name is Brianna. And then her photos were really good. Her product photos were super good, and I was like, her stuff is good. I was like, let me reach out to her and see if she wants to come on and do a takeover and like kind of show our viewers how she does her product photos. And she agreed to do it. I was like super excited. Like that's the stuff that we want to do. Yeah. We just want to find like, you know, girls like us who are doing dope things on various industries and offer them a platform to show their work. And as far as like writers, like we have a contributing writer section on our website where people can pitch us stories. No one has yet, by the way, guys. So we're definitely open to like bringing other writers on. Like me and Milan, our writing process is sporadic, so it'd be nice to like introduce other people to make that a little bit more deeper and as far as content.
Provide different voices.
Yeah, provide different voices.
The platform.
But yeah, so like when you reached out to me, I was like, yes, that's the type of stuff I love. Like just finding random people like whose platforms you love and working with them, and if it aligns with your platform, it's perfect. So yeah, that's what we seek to do with ours, just finding, you know, girls like us.
Yeah. And I know you guys mentioned like the importance of seeing yourself in like media and different things like that. For me, like with Young Monarchs, I just wanted a place where different women, mostly Black women, can have a place to highlight the things that they're doing and the things that they're creating, and just how we as Black women are creating a space for ourselves in a time where it's kind of like it's our time to shine and to make a movement. You guys see the reasons why it is so important to have people of color and just to see yourself in those other mediums, because I know one reason I feel like it's important for me, because I think about like I want to have daughters one day, and I don't want them to always look at social media as their image or representation of what a Black woman should be or act like or do. So it's important for me to have like a positive platform to where young girls can see like, oh, there are girls who just like don't want to be on Instagram all day, like want to create things, want to be different and be seen for those differences. So what's like one of you guys like main reasons why you go so hard for On the Harp and for just creating this community?
I think for us, why we go so hard for On the Harp, but not only On the Harp, but for Black women, is because Black women to us are most of the time the tastemakers. Our work is often duplicated without us, and it's been happening for years. So I feel like for us, our main mission is, again, to use Black women, amplify our voices, because it's often silenced, yet they take from our genius. So I think that's why On the Harp is so important. And our mission is so important because, let's be real here, box braids, hourglass shape, like a lot of what we're known for, a lot of our creativity is often taken and co-opted. And I think for Black women, for a platform by Black women that's catered to Black women is very, very, very important, especially young Black women.
Yeah. Especially you need to see yourself to know what you want to do. Like, I think it's important for young girls. I didn't know necessarily where I wanted to be when I was a little girl. I always know who I was, though, but I didn't know what I wanted to be. And it's kind of hard because you don't see people in fashion. You don't see, or did when I was younger, didn't see like our own publications and stuff like Essence.
Yeah.
Loved Essence. Essence, all the Essence. So I think maybe that's where our passion for publication came from.
Definitely.
But you know, in faces in fashion, we fashion majors. So I think it's important that young girls can see ourselves owning fashion businesses and fashion houses and like to the couture level. I think that's very important. So I think that's why we just go hard, just so we have that representation, and also so our voice is being heard, and it's on our terms, like it's on our platform. So it's not going to be twisted or sugar-coated in a package for the white gaze. It's like for us, by us.
Yeah.
Like, own things. I think that's very important. Like, we contribute a lot to other people's spaces. I think it's very important that we own our own space. Like Meth Eater. We like Meth Eater too. We think it's so dope that, again, you can start something like that, and it's like strictly for Black people. What's her name? Gabrielle, I think, the editor and founder, is about like building our own tables, and I think that's very important. So just to keep, you know, we need more publications, more media companies. Like, keep going. We have a lot now, but let's keep going and keep putting each other on. I think it's very important.
Definitely. And you guys said something about kind of how different things that Black women just naturally do, how it's been emulated by so many different brands, businesses, publications in general. So that made me think about Maya's article on allyship and all these brands coming out and saying, like, you know, Black Lives Matter. At the companies that your friends work for or you work for, you don't see any people of color on the leadership board or just associate board for different publications. So how do you feel? I guess my first question would be, do you notice, or do you think people are conscious of the fact that a lot of the creative elements that so many Black women just have naturally, that they are specifically taking them and kind of making it their own? Like, do you think it's like a conscious thing, or is it still that bias that so many businesses have?
Man,
I don't know. Well, I'm gonna start with the article. Performative allyship. Again, before the hashtag of Blackout R29, before that came out, I was just seeing all these platforms with the black boxes, and I'm just sitting here like, that article started as like just a rant. I wasn't even trying to do the article. It was a rant that I wanted to write about because it was irritating to me how you come out and support, but you have people in your company, Black women, who face microaggressions and voices are not being heard, are not being pulled to the editor-in-chief level, and also just we're just for show. And that is, to me, it's in a lot of fashion publications. I felt this way for a long time, so I just felt like, oh my God, why is everybody trying to act all pro Black Lives Matter, but you have several Black women on your staff who are freelancers or who are assistants, who should be the boss, who should be directors, who should be managers. And like, we work in fashion, and I moved to LA and I was doing a lot of interviews. I noticed this early, like, I wasn't getting no play, and a lot of times those interviews, I was putting people on game. Like, one lady interviewed me, she had a pen and a paper, and I was like talking about like how I would bring business to her store on Melrose. This woman pulls out a pen and paper. And what would you do? I was like, I would hire a PR agent. I would bring some influencers down here. You know, I'll have a little party, you know, so they can shop, you know, Instagrammable walls. This lady has a pen and paper. My interview is me telling her what to do to bring business to her store. I didn't hear back from her.
Yeah.
No idea. So I'm just like, what is going on? And that's a lot. I've interviewed a lot of places in LA. That's a lot of places. They will take your genius. They will take your ideas. They won't give you no credit. They won't hire you. They will not put you in no position of power. So I was like, no, I'm not feeling that. Especially a lot of the brands who I know specifically who don't got no Black people on their staff. Bye, girl. So I was like, let me write about this. Let me rant real quick. Yeah. So it's irritating to me. Performative. It's performative. Yeah, that's all I got to say. I think you have to have action behind your statements, and I feel like a lot of those companies do not. Like the media company I used to work for, I'm starting to see them have a lot of Black women on their Instagram nowadays. The same company I used to have to scour to find Black women to put on their Instagram. So I'm like, oh, that's funny to me. And let me tell you, I was one of 2 Black women working there. So I'm just like, okay,
and you was an intern, unpaid.
Yeah, and I was unpaid intern. Wrote a story for them. I couldn't put my name in the byline, which I fought for to put my name in the byline. They said they don't put interns' names in the byline, but they sure did publish my story under someone else's name. So it's funny to me. I think it's very performative, but hopefully they're putting action behind it. But along with your Black box that you're posting, you're also hiring Black people and putting money into Black creatives, Black influencers' pockets, and not just collabing with them and giving them free promo, free clothes. Totally. Yeah.
Because I've experienced that same thing in Atlanta. Like Atlanta in general is like a beautiful creative space for Black people. So you'll see, I was working at an all Black agency where, you know, everybody we worked with was Black, from red carpet vendors to the influencers, celebrities. And it was just a beautiful space when it was all Black people, curated by all Black people. You felt the mission, and you felt like there was love in the room to make whatever mission was going on happen. Right. And then I noticed working at predominantly white agencies and creating the same type of experiences or pieces, it was always like a white designer picked to do, or influencer, or the people on the production team or the post-production team. But you saw that there were extremely more qualified African-American creatives who could have done above and beyond, who could have brought their own amazing visions to life for a different brand. And you see how quickly we are kind of brushed under the rug, but they take the things that we say and then brush us specifically under the rug. So when I read the article, I was like, I'm thinking the same thing. Like a lot of what I was seeing, I was just like, this is not real. Like, this is just BS. Like, you guys are putting on a puppet show. And then when it comes to your social media, you're Black Lives Matter. When it's behind doors, you're not elevating your like mid-level African-American team to leadership roles, and you're not giving creatives those opportunities. So when I read that, I was like, I'm not the only person that thinks that this is BS out here. Like,
I was so nervous. I was like, I put in my group chat, like, should I release this? All our 2 of our cousins work in fashion too. They're like, yeah. I'm just like, I don't want to, offend, but at the same time, I think it's something that needs to be said because it's the truth. And when you don't know until you get into the fashion industry how they really be treating us and how it's just impossible for us to get a job. I was like, I know so many women in LA, Black women who are in fashion, can't tell you what company they work for. Right? It's like that. Yeah. So it's, I don't know, that's what the place contract from.
Is that also where you guys notice? For me, I kind of noticed for Black women, like, we have to create our own space. And then once we create our space, then people are like, oh, Maya and Milan, I'm coming back after, like, the store on Melrose could come back to you. But like, let's do something together. Like, let's not.
After what you need people to co-sign when you saw the sauce. It's once you benefit them, then they want to work with you. Mm-hmm.
You saw the sauce. Like, you saw it, you wanted to take it.
Yeah, like, I had nothing to prove to you. Yeah, truly. It really is sad. But I'm excited about building our own spaces and starting our own businesses. So many people are starting businesses. Like, start your own business. There is plenty of monies to go around in this world. Right. And, I'm just trying to switch most of my things to Black owned. Just because it's important to continue to put that dollar back into our communities as well and support our creatives. Like, we put in a lot of work, right?
I'm going to be looking for that article then. Your list of Black-owned beauty clothes.
Yes. Yeah. We want to find some brands that haven't been shout out yet. Because I know, like, there's a few that continue to get shout out, which we love. But we want to find some, some underground people on the. I think we're good at that. Yeah, we're good at finding, like, smaller brands.
Nice. Get Your Life segment, where we kind of go around the table saying one thing in our journeys that is going super well, and one thing in our journey that we're still struggling in. So I can start. one thing in my journey that has been going well with just Young Monarchs and creating in general has been over the past few weeks just trying to be more intentional with the content that's created. Like, I know as a woman, I love beauty, I love arts, I love fashion, all of that. But thinking about Young Monarchs as wanting it to be empowering, I've been doing really well with making sure the content is like in niche of that empowerment type of feel and not just Tiara, the individual, talking about things that she's interested in. And then one thing that I'm still struggling with is just making time, like time to create, time to do social media, because I'm realizing like really owning the fact that I do want to be a creative in creating my own space with Young Monarchs. It takes a lot of time. And even with being on quarantine and being home, I think like, oh, I just have all day. And in all actuality, I probably have like 3-4 hours a day where I can dedicate to Young Monarchs. So finding that time, I'm still struggling with. I need to
That's the same thing. Yeah. That's the same thing for me. Like, it is, yeah, like you said, even with quarantine, sometimes it's just hard. Sometimes I just want to lay down, take a breather. Sometimes, like, no, I've been working for a long time. I deserve a break. But yeah, it is hard to stay focused. For me, it's just like continue trying to put out content that makes sense, be consistent, but also that's quality. So I just don't want to put out something for the sake of being consistent if it's not really needs to be put out. But at the same time, I really want to be consistent. So it's kind of like, I don't know, because I kind of work when I'm inspired. And if I'm not, I'm kind of like, I feel like we had a good, always have a run. Like, I'll have a good week or two run. And then, like, it's like, right now it's my dry week. I'm just like, I haven't wrote a single article. I just did an Instagram post like an hour ago. And I'm just like, woof. And that was a lot of work right there. I just was like, woof. So, yeah, I'm kind of like between like a pulling back and forth between being consistent, but then putting out only things when I'm inspired. So it remains intentional. Yeah. Right. I think I'm the same way. I think consistency is something I'm struggling in. It's hard. It's hard, especially working. Yeah. It's really hard to find the time, but it's very important because you have to remember your mission and the reason you're doing it. And that's what the audience want is consistency. But I feel like what we're doing a good job at and what I'm personally doing a good job at is the content we do put out does better than I usually think it will do, which is surprising. So I think we're really good at putting out meaningful content that people relate to. But consistently putting out that content is the struggle. Yeah. And everything to what you said, how your articles do better than like you think. It's like you'll put so much time and effort into trying to make something perfect. And then once you put it out, you're like, oh, this is amazing. You're like, really? Like, really?
It's crazy. It's really crazy how much you could doubt yourself, especially as a creative. And then once you put it out, seeing people receive it and seeing how well people are acting with it, it's like, why did I ever doubt myself?
Yeah. Right. Those are like the moments that make me want to be like, okay, I'm just going to work one more hour since somebody commented that they like it.
Right. Hold on. I got something else for y'all. Hold on.
Like, give me a second. So I did, I guess we can jump into the motivational tea. Generally, do you guys have any like stories of any inspiring stories or stories where you guys kind of bossed up and make something happen for yourselves?
I would say just recently, I was actually working on my media kit. And I was like, just looking at my numbers for my personal page on the Harp. And when I did the media kit, which like, what was it, like a month ago? Yeah, a month ago. We had like 800 followers. And I was just like, you know, you have to do your like little bio, like Maya does blah, 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 talk about your business. So I was like, at the end, I was like, let me just put a little razzle dazzle in here. And I was like, Maya has hopes to grow On the Harp's followers by, what did I say? By like 2? Is it 2 or more than that? Double. I had hopes to double On the Harp's followers and views by the end of the year. I was like, I'm just going to put my analytics and I want to double my views and my follows. And now we sitting at like what, 3,000, almost 4,000. That was a month of growth, right? Exactly. And then our traffic has been crazy. It's up like 500%. So just this
see that, like me just randomly putting that just to like gas myself up because, you know, it was quarantine. I don't got no job no more. So I was like, I'm about to gas myself up. And just to see that turn around that quickly, I was like, what else can I manifest? My hopes to make $1 million. So that was like my boss up moment. I'm super proud of how we've grown on the harp in such a short time, and just how people are receiving the content. Like that was my goals too. Like I want people to start commenting and engaging, interacting. But I feel like we've gotten more of that, and we've definitely got more of that. So we're excited because at the end of the day, it's a community and it works two ways, not just one way. We want people to speak with us, not just speak to people. So I'm super excited. That was my boss up moment.
I love that you said that, because I know for the motivational tea, it's like whatever guest is on the show, they'll share like a meaningful story to them. But I'm trying to make Young Monarchs a community. Like I want people to share their stories, share their experiences. And even if like people don't like what we're talking about, tell us why. Like this can be an open space to where women can agree, disagree, and still have like positive conversation afterwards.
Exactly. Yeah. I love a good discussion. Yeah. Me too. Like we don't always gotta agree on nothing. That's how we grow and that's how we learn and that's how we just know each other. Because we're all different people at the end of the day. We can have similar interests, but we're all different people.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you want to share another story?
That's it. My boss up moment is her boss up moment. Seeing the growth of On the Harp has been crazy and overwhelming. Makes me want to work harder, put out more content, and also communicate with our community more. So I would say that was my boss up. Yeah. Definitely On the Harp's growth in this past month has been crazy.
And I would say to people who are listening who haven't checked out On the Harp yet, it's a beautiful website. I love the stories. I love the articles. I love your Instagram. So you're definitely like, you are creating like beautiful, like aesthetic beauty. The content is like real content that is relatable, just going through some of the articles. So definitely check out On the Harp. But I definitely wanted to say anybody who does have their own motivational tea that they want to share, or any stories where they bossed up in general, you can share them on Anchor. You can share them on the Young Monarchs Instagram @_Young Monarchs. You can send them to me directly at Miss Tierra XO, and we can play them on an episode. But I wanted to give the mic over to Maya and Milan to kind of tell people how they can find you, if different things that's coming from On the Harp, what they can expect, and just how to stay connected and locked in.
So talk about what we can expect. On the Harp is just expecting to continue to grow. Hopefully bring more people on for content. We locked in a brand partnership with one of our favorite brands, actually. And just more growth and just working with more. It's a Black business, by the way. Just working with more Black businesses and more Black creatives. Working amongst this level horizontally. Just continue that. The thing. And you can find us at ontheharp.com. That's our website. Instagram is @ontheharp, and our personals is @Maya_Harp, MAYA, and @Milan Harp, MILANHARP.
And if you're following Young Monarchs on Instagram, I'm going to have all of their tags where you can find their website, their personal pages, in our story and on our page this week. So I wanted to thank you guys so much for just taking time out of your Saturday to spend with me and doing this episode. I definitely wish you guys the best. I love your platform, so I'll be staying tuned, and just I'm excited for everything that's happening. I definitely feel like it's a time for young Black women to kind of create a beautiful world for ourselves. And like how you said, you already have brand partnerships coming up. Like it is the time to slay and just be ourselves and make it happen. So shout out to y'all. And thank you so much for being on this episode. Thank you guys to everybody that's listening. Be sure to tune in, follow, subscribe, do all that stuff. And I'll see you guys next week. That's it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, y'all.